Howdy y'all, Los here. Welcome to another episode of Bonsai-YEAH. We are here again at the 2022 Texas State Bonsai Convention. We are in the exhibit room where there's an exhibition going on. There are a ton of really great trees here. We have full reign of the exhibit hall. So without further ado, let's check out these trees, shall we? Let's go. First thing that we see pretty much draws your eyes to these two trees we got here. We have this Boxwood by Don Baker. It's 50 years old and it's been training for 3 years. This has only been training for 3 years, believe it or not. And just looking at this massive tree, honestly, this is an awesome tree and in its true sense of the word. This here is a bald cypress, 23 years old and training for 7 by a fellow Bennett, a blessed man himself, Randy Bennett. This is an amazing tree. I've been told that this has been in the same pot for its whole bonsai life, to the point where it's grown its own knees. From what I understand, knees ain't so easy to build or a bald cypress in a container, but it can be done. This brings us to a Japanese black pine. The artist is John Denton, and this is a wonderful tree. It has all this amazing flaky bark, and that is no easy feat. Well, just one little hurdle to hop, and that is patience and time, that's right. This here is a Nia boxifolia. It's brought to you by Don Coating, and this is a beautiful tree. It looks like it's a very, very old tree from very far away. These leaves are so small, it really makes the scale perspective of this tree look amazing. This trunk is gnarly. It's got a split, perhaps some carving done right in the middle. However, the apex is a little bare. It needs a growing season. That's what it needs. Beautiful nonetheless. Yes, that's a bluebonnet. This is a really sweet display of Shohin bonsai. First of all, we have it in a nice display case here. Well, it's called a case, but as you can see, as you get closer, the scale of this thing becomes more massive, as if this is just a regular sized tree here. But as you pull back and you put your hand in front, you realize the true scale of this magnificent little tree. Look at this Cedar Elm. This is a wonderful Cedar Elm, 40 years old it says, in training for 15 years, 30 years that it's been collected. So it was collected when it was 10 years old, it looks like. And you know that this tree is extremely old because every single cut site for a big chop is completely healed over and has old bark on it. If you guys know me, you know that I love the bold cypress. Here's a slanting bold cypress. This is a really cool specimen because it's got a hollowed out trunk right on the bottom here, which I have been told that that was carved in. And if we get a little light in there, you can see that that is indeed hollow inside there. That's cool. Another really cool cedar elm here. The bark is flaking as if it was a pine. It is so flaky. You know that kid that just doesn't show up on time? I think this tree's flakier. Dr. Ho put this azalea together. Doesn't smell, but this is in full bloom, and I've been told it's not fully bloomed. This should have been just full of pink. And as you can see, it is in full bloom. If you're standing in this room right now, and just about anywhere in this room, there's a distinct smell in the air, and I guarantee you that it is coming from this. It's no doubt it's coming from this. This here is a water jasmine. Not only has it got a beautiful fragrance, this is a beautiful looking tree as well. It's got this bare front to it so you can get a good look at the trunk. And those scars are healing up quite nicely, just about closed up on those. It is fragrant, which just adds to its appeal a lot more in my opinion. Norfolk Island pine, you will see these all the time at Lowe's, Home Depot around the Christmas season, which is really funny because this is not a tree like a normal pine. It doesn't take the cold very well. This is a tropical tree, which sort of you're getting with this rock planting here. Very tropical, don't it? Doesn't it look like it's an island? Now we're quite familiar with this species here on the channel. This here is a Yaupon holly, the vomitoria. That's right. This is a 18-year-old tree, and it's no more bigger than a bowling ball. Here's a really cool cascade. Now, when I look at this, I don't know if I like looking at it from its front here. I think it should be viewed more from the side here. Now, I think it should be viewed more like this. But regardless, I still think it's a pretty cool looking tree. Just don't really see how it comes out of the pot, which I sort of like when it comes to cascading, but I don't mean to critique. I am no bonsai professional. I think this still is a wonderful tree. Tiger bark ficus. This one has tons of aerial roots. Aerial roots are basically little roots that pop out. They're like little buds. They find their way to the ground, and then all they do is thicken up. They fuse with the trunk that make this trunk look absolutely massive. This is another Nia boxifolia. There's just something so crazy about this. I've got a little tiny cutting of this thing, but to see this massive trunk, massive like crevasse that's right there, and then its tiny compact leaves. This is an amazing type of tree that I definitely want to keep exploring. Tiger bark ficus. Now from what it looks like, because this is a very white trunk, I believe that this has been lime sulfured, which I didn't know you could do that to live trees, but it makes sense. It's there to protect it. You can definitely tell that it's been lime sulfur because of the actual cuts. The wood underneath is white as well. Here's a hackberry. Very sweet and very annoying tree to folks. I love the tree, but if you have to deal with hackberries, you know that they're basically a weed out here. A weed that will turn into an amazing tree. And it's got some great bark characteristics. It's sort of flaky in spots, but very rugged looking. It can take a beating. Hackberry. What makes this cedar elm wonderful is not only does it have a custom looking pot here, that this has got a beautiful fat base to it, and it's still being worked on. It is still ramifying, it's still being worked on. So it's been trained for 15 years. Texas ebony, another Texas native. Baldoff's blue oak. What a really cool species. The leaves are nice and small, and it's got a beautiful chunky little trunk there. This Japanese black pine is amazing. Look at the flaky bark. This is, again, a beautiful planting from our friend Brendan Baldoff. Our friend Brendan Baldoff's showing another tree here. We may have met this when we checked out his garden, but this is a beautiful 135-year-old olive tree. And probably the oldest thing that we have here at the exhibition. These trees are known to have just the gnarliest looking dead wood on them. Great for carving, and as an added benefit, you get olives. Yes, please. This one by far has got to be one of my favorites in the whole show. Made by Carl Dixon. This is a Catlin Elm. Now, you may not see it without looking close, but there's a big rock. And not only is there a big rock, there's a branch growing through the hole. Not only is it growing through the hole, it's getting too big for that hole. So we're seeing some of that bark just sort of clump up in that area. It also has a beautiful handmade container. I'm going to place this one pretty close to one of my favorites as well. This is also a Catlin Elm. I love the lace bark that it has. To a matter of fact, I believe it's called a lace bark elm as well. The very tiny leaves that this thing will give to you. This has been in training for a long time. It does not say on the card. Steve Young has put this together, and I am, well, paint me impressed. It's got a beautiful canopy and just tons of branches everywhere. What a great tree. Cedar Elm. Now, I'm not sure if this is Cedar Elm. It does not quite look like a Cedar Elm to me. The leaves alone look like it's a Catlin Elm, but the bark does not look quite like a Catlin Elm. So it doesn't look like a Cedar Elm. I may be completely wrong, but regardless, this rock through over rock is a fine choice. I may be biased, but I love Brazilian rain trees. Now this one's not the greatest looking one I've seen foliage-wise right now because it doesn't like change. When you take it from its spot and it's happy and healthy, you take it and move it away, the leaves all of a sudden drop. It just happens. We still love the Brazilian rain tree because those leaves will be right back. Monster tiger bark ficus, tons of aerial roots. This is quite old, so it's been in training for 20 years. It's estimated to be 50 years old, so it is quite old. And it's a beautiful tree. All right, that's the exhibition for 2022 here in the great state of Texas. Thank you, Lone Star Bonsai Federation. Thank you, San Antonio Bonsai Society, for letting us come out and checking out your trees. Hope you enjoyed. Congratulations to all the winners. And until next time, be cool, stay hip, get yourself a hobby. We'll see you next time.